Oh, there. This is my 68 convertible Chevelle. A little backstory on this thing. It was my father's. He sadly passed away, so now I'm taking care of it with absolutely no knowledge, really. I know a little bit here and there, but I'm coming into this car blind. Like, this is a lot of car for a guy in his early 20s. I just, I'm doing my best with it. Got some spots here from where it sat with a old car cover. The thing runs and drives great. I just had this linkage fixed. They replaced the Z-bar. They rebuilt this part, put that felt seal in, and made that all nice. Make it nice and smooth for me. But now, once it gets warmed up, the clutch pedal gets stiff, and it just does not want a clutch pedal, is the best way I can describe it. I'm guessing, like, I read some forums online about how some stuff inside the transmission probably needs to be greased, or maybe I don't know, something might be going wrong with it. But as it sits cold, the clutch works great. Oh, a little bit more backstory. This is a 350 engine. It is not a 327. My dad swapped it out for whatever reason. It's a 350 engine from a 1973 van. So that's kind of cool. It just got new, well, not just. It had new brakes put on about 4 years ago. Anyways, I'm trying to make the gauges work again. And I think this has to do with it. I don't know why they'd be disconnected. Maybe they draw power. I wonder if I need heat shielding for these wires, because they were resting on the manifold at one point. And there's a little spot there, I think. You got a little black. I got them hanging above it, but I don't know. Has a new carburetor. I think it's 600 CFM. Alternator alternates. I tested it with a multimeter. Here's the interior. I just took out the seat, or I just unbolted the seat so I could take it out and like work on them gauges, because I don't think they're functioning properly. They're kind of old. Been in there for a while. The guy who fixed that for me, he checked my coolant and he said it was low. He added coolant and he tightened every single hose clamp, since hoses as they age, though something, I don't know, but he said he tightened the hose clamps, and now we're full of coolant, so it's not low. And I've driven it rowdy, so if it would have leaked any, burned any, it would have done it by now. So that's good to hear. Well, it turns out I don't have enough space here to get the seat out. Can't get the door open far enough, so now I have to re-bolt it in, or put like one bolt and then start it up and move it a little bit. Okay. Go and make some connection there. This is not my car, by the way. It's a sweet car. Alright, one bolt in. I'm just moving it up a little bit. We got some lights. Choke her up. Now this isn't true cold start. I ran her yesterday, but it got about 32 last night. Oh, right up. Look at that. Go. always tricky. There we go. I guess there's supposed to be a clock there, but I don't know what happened to that. Oil pressure does work, but I don't know if it's supposed to have air in it like that. You know, I don't know. Alright, let's see if we can. The mechanic I took it to set the iron about as low as possible. I'm surprised it actually staying alive in the cold like this. It's probably about 40 degrees, 50. I'm not sure. The sun's coming out. The battery voltage, it has to do with those two wires, right? So that's what I'm looking at here. Let's turn on some flashes. There we go. I think these are what, or no, not those. I'm not too sure. Alright, let's step out. I've still got the car cover on a little bit. I do have tailpipes, they're just not on. So the exhaust comes out right there. Oh yeah, fuel gauge doesn't work either. Sounds nice up here. I think I hear a knock, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean, sounds like an engine to me, you know. All right, I'm gonna move it. All right, that's good and out of the way. I got plenty of space now. Needs a trunk keyhole. Needs some work done here, here. I let her warm up a bit and I'm gonna turn it back off. You know, it very well may be knocking. I can't tell. It's definitely got a few exhaust leaks here at the gaskets and probably near the muffler as well. There's an airplane going on overhead. Or a helicopter. So I don't know if it's an exhaust leak that I'm hearing or a knock. Alright, that's warm enough. So I got the seat out. Apparently one side has spring tension, the other one doesn't. That was kind of fun to figure out. Okay, I got my trusty wood door jamb there. Now we got some space in here. Oh, whew. Well, drop the car a little bit. Goes your door jamb. Let me think something. Okay, I've upgraded to a bucket with some stones. And now, the interior has definitely been redone. Not really a fan of the overlapping carpet. That's kind of weird. I mean, stuff can just get up and underneath there. Like, how the heck are you gonna clean underneath this carpet? I guess you take this molding off and pick it up, but still, don't like that. Anyways, this is the gauge in question, my voltage. Let's see if we can get underneath here. Now we got the seat out. So the two wires I saw are probably I'm just gonna say they're up in this mess. They came through where the choke cable came through. I'm not entirely sure where that is. There's some cut wires right there. Green and black. I don't know what those do. Yeah, half of this stuff, I don't know what I'm looking at. I need to find out where that choke cable came through. Oh, it came through back in there. Oh, here's the wires. Yep. Yeah, here's the wires. Accidentally hit a button. They connect directly to here. I guess this bulb is done. Or something like that. That's not connected. These are tight. Is there supposed to be oil or air in my oil pressure line? I don't know. Anyway, I think I need a new choke cable too. It's a little bit rusty by the carburetor. Okay, I think I've seen all I need to see here. I think I just need to hook these up to the battery. Alright, I think I know why these are disconnected now. I think there's a short in that gauge. Because I'm just trying to connect it, and you can see that little spot right on the corner. That's where it just started shocking. My little thing there. Got that now going on. So I'm wondering, I think that gauge needs to be replaced. Why would it just short out like that? I'm gonna try to find something out. Alright, I've officially installed some premium sun protection. Make sure that door doesn't get all corroded. Not corroded, but just baked. Same with the hood. No, it's just the car cover that I use. But that battery voltage thing, it's really bright out here and making it dark inside. I'm gonna have to go ahead and just take it out there and test it right at the battery, because I don't know if their wires are shorted out or what. I can't see what's going on in here, and all it does is just shock when I try to hook it up. So yeah, we'll see what's going on. I really don't have many wiring resources at my disposal, so I'm just gonna hook up some jumper cables straight to the gauge, see what happens. Now presumably it's not supposed to shock. We have negative. Go to this like this. We'll go straight down actually. I'm trying to do this one-handed. I'm just gonna have to report back, but this is what I'm doing. Alright, I tested the gauge. It jumps up past 60 and it wants to just melt immediately, which seems odd. You know, I don't know anything about volt gauges or voltmeters, but I guess it's bad. You know, that's the only thing I can think of. Why would it just short out like that? Okay, well, I need a new one of these. Jumper cable test works. Another thing, see how it's kind of wet underneath that breather? Yeah, I believe I need to replace that seal. And I saw some oil on the valve cover here after getting a little rowdy. So I think I'm gonna go to the store, get me a new volt gauge. I don't think it's called a volt gauge. Pretty sure it's a voltmeter. But I'm gonna get me a new one of these seals too. And it does leak oil. It probably needs like an oil pan, because the valve covers, they look clean. It looks clean around here. It's just when you look underneath it and then you let it sit too, there's some oil drops. But it's just like I feel like every old car with a V8 leaks oil. It's like no big deal really, as long as it's not empty in your pan, right? So I went ahead and popped that breather gasket out. It's nice and dry feeling, so I'm pretty sure it's old. It's also split right there. That, like, as soon as I started taking it out, it just split immediately, so I'm assuming it was already there. So yep, time for a new one of these. If you're curious as to what I do drive for daily, my 03 Jetta 1.8T. Of course, it's got a manual transmission. It's got 188,000 miles, and it's throwing some codes. I'll talk about that in a second. So I've had this car about 4 years, 3 years. Always been reliable. You know, I've had to replace some old car stuff. The relay's gone bad, air conditioning went out. But now it's throwing crank cam correlation. That's what that check engine light is about. And the timing belt is due for replacement. So it's just like, it's a... I don't want to put all that into this car. It's so old. And it's just falling apart. Basically, you need to rebuild it from the ground up. And that's not happening. As fun as this car is to drive. Brake booster's bad. Can you hear the hissing? I don't really notice much of a difference in the braking. It's still just as strong. You might have to press harder because the assistance is gone. Nice 5-speed. The radio does work. The switches work too, but that door stays locked. Doesn't unlock. Yeah. Well, AutoZone feels pretty useless today. I walked in, I showed them a picture of what I needed. Like, I saw on top of the engine, the breather and everything. I'm like, yeah, I need one of these breather gaskets. They're like, all right, what make and model? I'm like, it's just a Chevy 350 engine. Like, it doesn't matter what model, make, whatever. And they're just looking at me with big glass eyes, man. It's just like, really? Is this stuff so out of touch these days? Like, ugh. They didn't have a volt gauge either. They didn't have a voltmeter, so I'm still stuck. What? They had every other freaking gauge, but not the voltmeter. I'm gonna try O'Reilly's, I guess. All right, Advanced Auto Parts got me with the breather gasket. I notice the ridge in there. It is bigger than this one. I'm not sure what that'll do. Hold on. Okay, it actually is significantly bigger. So, it was the only one they had in there. I wonder if I should keep shopping around. Yeah, they didn't have a voltmeter gauge either, so I'm still stuck with the blown one I got. They sell them in, they have a bunch of 3 sets, you know, the oil pressure, temperature, and the volt gauge meter. But I just need the one. And they don't have it here at Advanced Auto Parts and AutoZone. Jeez. I'm just gonna go to O'Reilly's now, like I said before, but this one was closer, so I hopped in here. All right. Oh, all right. Finally, we have made a successful trip. We've got the gauge, and we have got the proper grommets. The proper ones. The one I bought, it's not right. It's obviously too big, and it's also got flaps in the bottom. Where's that? Yeah, this one does not have a flap in the bottom. It has that weird half thing, and that's what these new ones have too. They have that half thing in the middle. Yeah, something in the middle of it. Or maybe, that's a new design, I guess. It's got a flap on the bottom. You see that flap? And inside of it too. So it's got 2 different flaps. This one's just got the one, unless it got tore off or something. I hope that's not just sitting around the engine. I don't know. By the way, it was O'Reilly's. O'Reilly's have saved the day. Advanced Auto Parts, AutoZone, you guys kind of lack today. I liked Advanced today because there was actually somebody who understood. Yeah, I got a Chevy 350. Oh, he went, oh yeah, over here. He gave me the gaskets for a different valve cover, I believe. All right, after some lunch, Back here we got the jumper cables hooked up, and I'm gonna test the meter, see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't try to melt me. Alright, it's a success. Look at that, a little over 12 volts. Sweet. Well, yeah, I got that other gauge just shorted right out. So these current wires I can go ahead and use, most likely. I need to throw that gasket in real quick. Sweet. It's nice that this works. Alright, I'm just gonna pop that in there. Should be simple enough. Oh yeah, that's simple. Yeah, very simple. Okay. Yeah, the other one was, the one I pulled out was nice and dry, and I didn't see a crack or nothing, but it just split. Beautiful. Okay, I'm under the dash. Keeps turning on me. I went ahead and tested with the wires. These wires, they're on the battery right now, and it does make connection. It does work. The gauge does work. So I'm gonna go ahead and install this thing. Well, it came with spade connectors. I'm pretty sure you saw on the meter itself it had spade connectors, and now I have those other connectors. So I'm gonna have to, I think I have to make another trip to go get some heat shrink, because I want to do it right. I don't want to just put electrical tape in there. Shit gets too hot. Yep. Alright, I got those battery cables hooked up, or meter cables. Just used a few spare nuts I had. Now it's time to just wire it up. And I'll still keep this off, just because, I mean, you don't know what else is draining power or whatnot. That like orange stuff, it's Walmart battery corrosion preventative, like NoCo brand. I like it a lot, but it gets on your hands a little bit, and it's nasty. It's like oil. And I masking taped up the battery so I wouldn't get that spray everywhere else but the terminals. And it worked, but now I feel like I gotta respray it because it just kind of wipes off. It'll stay there until you wipe it off. Okay, so I don't really need heat shrink for this part. I didn't think about it. I just need to snip these wires here and then crimp them on with the new spade connectors. No heat shrink required. But the light, these light wires, they're probably gonna need to be heat shrunk. I'm not too sure about these lights, if they're supposed to be always on or if they kick on when you turn the vehicle lights on or what. This temperature, why does it has like a cable? Oh, I don't know. Huh. The gas pedal's just loosey-goosey. I mean, this is going forward right here. It's supposed to pull. Oh shit, my car cover fell off because of the wind. Well, the sad thing is this gauge is definitely completely different from the other ones. And the other gauge had the spacer, so the gauge sat at an angle and pointed at your face. You see, those are pointed at the driver's side. This one's pointed directly, just straight. I tried to put the spacer in, but the little mounting system for this gauge is it doesn't work right with this spacer. So I guess it's just gonna have to sit like that until I maybe just buy a whole new row of gauges just to replace them, have good ones. A little lesson learned. Probably should just replace the whole thing. But for now, a little project. And the spade connectors that gauge came with are a lot smaller than the gauge of the wire, so I had to put some wires to the side and kind of wrap it around. Do a nice tug test on this wire. The spade doesn't move, so I'll have to wrap something around here. The other wire's just like that too. The gauge is bigger than the spade connectors. I'm guessing it's fine. I mean, I just took some strands off. You can see I wrapped it around. Focus. Got some strands going up. I'm sure it's fine. Okay, since this isn't in the engine bay and I don't have any heat shrink, I went ahead and just put some electrical tape around it. It's good enough for just a little voltmeter. If it was in the engine bay, I would advise against some electrical tape. And shit melts. Well, I buggered up those spade connectors trying to freaking crip them. So, because I don't have the right tool for it, I kind of split it instead of crimping. So I'm going to go to the hardware store and get some more spade connectors. Probably get some heat shrink. You like my sun protection? I need to get something on the fender. Yeah, I ain't messing around with the sun fade. Alright, Harbor Freight. We got some terminal assortments. We got these butt connectors they call it. Some heat shrink and some test leads because I feel like I might need those again. Yeah, I think we got everything we need. Alright, we're back to square one. Nice and stripped and clean. Let's do this right. So that pack came with blue ones instead of the crappy red ones that the voltmeter came with. And they slip right on over. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show it. But this is the right gauge. You know, the red ones were too small. So that's good to see. And I'm definitely going to crimp it right this time. Okay, nice and crimped. Do you see the crimp spot? I did it with the wire stripper this time on the crimp section. So I did it right. Now I'm going to do this to the other side, hook it up and test it. Alright, it's a success. That's what it should look like. Now that's what I'm talking about. Okay, now I gotta go switch on the battery and then we'll see if it's actually reading or not. Okay, switcher on, nice and plugged in. There's my battery wires there. I've got a nut on the bottom of them. I go back into underneath the dash. My covers. Wish I had a garage. Well, I do have a garage, but you know, it's just filled with a bunch of stuff. And there we go. It's working. 12 something. Cool. Now, as far as the light goes, I don't really know. I have to figure out how to wire up the light. See, this is the old light here from the old gauge. Cool. Well, you know, I guess I'll call this video here. That's what I was wanting to do. I was wanting to replace that breather gasket and fix that volt gauge, which I did. I'll probably make more videos on this thing because I got to take the gas tank out and fix the gas gauge. Some lint there. Yeah, that looks good now. Is it supposed to move? I don't know. But yeah, I will make a video on taking the gas tank out and fixing the sending unit. That's what the mechanic told me it might be. Once they get old, they get corroded. And it just sends infinite resistance to the gas gauge, so it thinks you're always full. Cool, I'll fix that. Have a good one, y'all. Oh yeah, I gotta throw the seat back in. Seat back. So it's just 4 bolts around that bolts the seat in. They're super easy to take out. So I took apart the old voltmeter gauge, but I mean I can't see what would be wrong with it. I have no idea why I'd be shorting out. The current comes through these bolts here to this like plate thing, and then it connects there, and then the voltage goes out. Come on, focus. Goes out through those 2 prongs on either side, and the needle will move accordingly to the voltage, but I don't understand why it's short out. I don't see any obvious signs. That's bizarre. Oh, after sitting and thinking a little bit, I'm like, did I really put the right one in there? The right grommet for the breather? And the answer is no, I did not. This is the one that came out. There's the one I freaking bought. Jesus. Yeah, so we're back to the store for one of these. Jeez, I'm out here at Napa Auto Parts. They don't even got the freaking thing. Like, what? I'm not even like upset. I'm just like, what the H? This seems like a, I don't know. It just seems like you'd be able to find these pretty easy, but AutoZone, O'Reilly, Advance, and now freaking Napa Auto Parts ain't got what I need. Yeah, this is where I call it today. It's 4:01 currently. That clock's an hour behind. There we go. That's right now. Well, I'm going home.